Hi everybody. I hope everybody is well and happy, and it's raining, it's miserable, but the potatoes love it, so all is well. I haven't done a video in ages because reasons. But today I'm doing a video response to Tarot Obsessed by Katey Flowers, because why not? And loved it, and I loved watching everyone else's that's already done one, which then sent me back to Oracle Obsessed, started by Imogen Walters, and then I started watching those as well, so it was a lot of fun. So I was like, I'll have a go. Granted, a lot of my decks are in storage, but it did kind of work out that the questions for the decks I actually had kind of out or within easy reach, so that worked out all right. So feel free to hit me for saying so one more time. If you've seen my channel before, you'll know some of the answers. If you haven't, hello. And yeah, let's crack on. So I've got my phone here with them on. So what was your very first tarot deck? Mine was this deck by Sasha Fenton. I don't believe it's named. My mum bought me this deck. It came with a little hardback book, and this deck and my Marseille deck were my teenage years decks. I didn't, as I've mentioned previously, I didn't really read with it so much as I drew from it and read from the book. I did that for years. I think every teenager should have a deck. So very bright, very vibrant, very childlike maybe in its colouring. The minors are not fully illustrated, so you had to have a bit of a guess, but I didn't really put any stock into thinking about it back then. So there we are. That was my first ever deck, and because I no longer use it, I did try the other day, but it lives out its retirement in this little box here. Okay, so what is your current favourite deck? Again, if you've watched my videos, you'll know, so I won't bore you too much. My current favourite deck is, and still is, the Modern Spellcasters Tarot. No, I don't understand all the symbols in the cards, but I think they're beautiful. So this is still my favourite. And considering I've really pared back my buying, stopped. There's only one deck that's kind of recently come onto my horizon, but I don't know if I need it. I don't know if I've already got decks similar, so I'm not going to give that too much thought, to be honest. So that is my favourite. Phone's gone. Okay. What is your most used deck? And I do believe I have these all in order. Prepared. My most used deck is my Osho Zen. It was gifted to me used. As you know, I have mentioned this before, but it really was my go-to deck for so long that it would be considered my most used deck, and I still love it. And no, I don't really use it at the moment, but I do love it so much. I think it's beautiful. One more, go on, because you all know what it looks like. So that is definitely my most used deck, and I know that because I when I journal and do readings with myself, I can write down what deck it is, and this one definitely got more mentions than any other deck, so it's definitely the Osho Zen. What is your least used tarot? All of them. In all honesty, probably half of my decks, if not a few more, have not been used. Shuffled, maybe. Drawn with, no. So for this one, I am not cheating, but I actually have, because I had to think about it. I was like, what decks do I use least? Because it does say what is your least used tarot? Well, I don't use either of them. So I'm going to show you two, not because I'm cheating, just because, you know, one seems shocking to me, but it's the Wildwood Tarot. I have tried. I think I have pulled a couple of cards, actually, tell a lie. But it is not, it's had no love at all, really. But I recently started reading the guidebook. I have a thing about, I love reading guidebooks, and I started to read it, and the meditation at the back, I was like, oh my god, that's amazing. So yeah, so that could change. That could change. So that is a shame. I have numerous decks. I've mentioned before, you know, the Wild Unknown. I've not touched that deck either, but I think you either love it or hate it. I suppose that's the same with Altair, but this one just seems very shocking to me. And then this is the Tarot Roots of Asia. And I used to, on my Facebook, I used to blog about this deck. I used to draw a card and see what I felt and saw and how that corresponded to what I knew of the tarot. I never actually used it though. I just pulled a card, looked at it, what did I see? And again, the reason I'm showing it is because that's a crying shame. I think it is it's the German edition. It was dirt cheap getting the German edition, and I'm so glad I did, because I don't use it. I'd have hated to have paid all that money and not used it. I would have kicked myself. It is without doubt one of the most beautifulest decks I own, and I really want to. I learnt German at school, so I can count to 1 to 10. So that's got me covered with the suits. That's not a problem. So yeah. That also just a crying shame. But there you go. So let's get the phone out. See what the next question was. How did you learn to read tarot? Still learning. I suppose really it was reading Rachel Pollack's 72 Degrees of Wisdom, and also reading the books that came with the decks I brought, and going from there, really. I think that's the reason I still devour guidebooks, is because I love to read more about the ideas behind it. I mean, I don't think you could ever learn tarot. I get what the question means, of course, you know, the basics. So yeah, Rachel Pollack, I would say, was my teacher. She doesn't know it, but she was my teacher. And then everyone here on YouTube, I think. Watching people passionately talk about decks, not only did that then make me go and buy said deck, but just, you know, when someone pulls a card and they're explaining, you know, the feeling and what it means to them, that was another way that I learned, you know, and it's also another reason why I have over 100 decks that I don't use. I am that susceptible. I'm not blaming you, I'm blaming me. So yeah, I'd say Rachel Pollack and the YouTube community and the guidebooks that came with them, and having a go, really. So what do you use tarot for? I use tarot for guidance. I use it for, excuse me, I use it for self-love, shadow work. I use it for problem solving, meditation. Mostly I use it for a way for me to connect with, you know, the divine, the cosmic. That's how I use the tarot, really. And I like to go on a journey, like I do when I read books. I like to go on a journey, and with tarot I feel that I have mini books. I have loads of mini books that have 78 pages, and for the most part they're different, unless, you know, they're similar, like clones. You know, and I like to go on a story when I'm reading with them. You know, I like to write poetry with them. Do I use them for divination? No, not so much anymore. I used to, but no, not so much. I like them to be empowering, like affirmation cards. You know, I love tarot to be like that. I don't always like, I've done a reading before for my husband, and I took it completely at face value, and I said to him, your day tomorrow. I said, you be careful. I said, you can have butterfingers. Because for me, it was the Two of Pentacles with the juggling. And I just said it to him because I've mentioned it before, because I know him. And he didn't. He dropped his phone. So, you know, if it's showing you in the face, you've got to just say it. But mostly I use it for helping me just feel better, I guess. It's a therapeutic thing for me more than anything. Yes, let's leave it at that before I just actually derail the whole thing. How do I read tarot? Intuition or book? It depends what I'm using it for, really. Most of the time I go for intuition. If I'm studying, then I like to get the book. Actually, I like to get everyone's books out. I like to see what everyone's got to say on it. But if I'm reading, because for the most part I read for myself, I go from what I feel and what I'm seeing, because the idea, I think some of the idea is that we can't always read for ourselves objectively. And I think that's great, because half the time I know the answer. Just lay it out for me, let me journal it out, and I'll get it out. So that, but if I do genuinely think I don't know, I'll grab the book. I'll see what the author's got to say. Simple, really. Do you use spreads? No. I try. No, that's not true. I do. I like the 5 horseshoe spread. I like 3 card spreads. I can't do a Celtic cross. I've tried. I do a mini one without the side. Do I use spreads? I can. I don't always. Mostly not. Do you mix tarot with other divination systems? Really boring. All I use it with is oracle decks, and that's rare. I normally either do an oracle reading or a tarot reading. I used to do tarot readings, and then I pull an oracle card. I think there's some pictures on my Facebook of me doing that. That's Celestial Fairy Cassandra, in case anyone is interested. But no, not really. I use it by itself, and then I'll use oracle cards by themselves. What makes a great tarot deck? Well, I don't know. I'm still looking for the greatest tarot deck. To me, it's just something, I don't think you know until you get it. You can have an idea looking online, but I think it's evocative. Sometimes it pulls you in. The Modern Spellcasters Tarot, I brought on a whim in Oxford with my mum and my nan. I was on holiday for a week visiting my mum, and I was bored. No offence, mum, soz. And I just went into Waterstones, and it was extortionate. I think it was something like £25 or something, and I was like, but I'm bored, so I bought it, and I loved it. But if we're talking, go on, you describe your favorite. I love a good guidebook because I genuinely read them. I love something where somebody says something new, where it isn't necessarily just the Rider-Waite-Smith meanings or the Toth meanings or the Marseille style, just regurgitated. That's absolutely fine. I do not care if that's what people do. For me, as someone that likes to read them, if I've already got 2 of those books, I don't want to read a third, basically. When it comes to art, I actually have no preference to artwork whatsoever. I either like it or I don't on site. It's, you know, a lot of my favourite decks are mixed media, collage, and then on the other hand, you've got the Modern Spellcasters, and it's just beautiful. You've got the Greenwood, the Druidcraft, and then you've got the sparseness of the Wild Unknown deck. I don't read with it, but I can see how beautiful it is. So, yeah. Did I answer the question? What makes a great tarot deck? Thought. Thought and love. I think that's what makes a great tarot deck. How important to you is that a deck sticks to a tarot system? Well, I do find it useful that it follows the system I'm used to. And this one I didn't prepare. I will just pause it. Sorry about that. Kind of carried on talking and hit the pause button. So how is it important that a deck sticks to the tarot system? Now, I am schooled, as it were, in the Rider-Waite-Smith School of Tarot Reading. And not so much recently, but leading up to the last couple of months, I have been a stickler for that system. And I have tried to, if a deck doesn't give me what I feel, I'm like, And the most embarrassing thing was when I tried to just do a bit of fun with my Rorig tarot. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong. And I was like, oh, that doesn't make sense. No, because it wasn't the Rider-Waite-Smith system, so I was very confused. And also with my Pagan 2000, another unused beauty, but we got the Four of Cups and Happiness, and I was like, huh? Wow, didn't seem happy in the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. So I genuinely don't think it matters if it sticks to a system. It can be its own system. I struggle outside of the Rider-Waite-Smith system anyway, so you know, it wants to do. I've got the Dreams of Gaia tarot. I haven't used it yet. It feels very powerful. I'm not ready to go there. Same with the Mary L. Still got it. Not ready with it. They just seem really powerful, and I'm not ready. Whatever the artist decides, I think, is probably the best answer there. If it wants to change its suits and all that, that's great. Although, that being said, the Greenwood one, it was bows and arrows, and I was like, eh? Took me a minute, I was like, bows and arrows? But that's just me. Anyway, so let's move on. Do you have any unusual or unique decks? Yes, I do have a few, and by unique and unusual, I don't have any independently made decks. But I do have a few unique and unusual. My Atavist Tarot probably being one of the most unusual, but again, that's buried. But this little bad boy was to hand. This is Tarot of the Third Millennium. And this is one unique deck. And again, it's never been used. This one I specifically bought for collecting purposes. And I'm regretting doing that because half of my decks, because of this flat, are bowing due to cold, I guess, the damp. If I ever sell them, I'll let you know if they're bowing in the post. So yeah, this has got to be one of the most unique decks. This and another one that I have that's really unique is the Tarot of Imagination. It's dark. Can't read with that. That being said, the mages on this deck are stunning. I mean, if you don't like Animal Cruelty, look away. It's so strange. It feels like two different decks, and I think I have done a review on this deck. Not that we're here for me, we're here for the tag. But I recently started to use a mages only deck. It wasn't mages only, I've just taken the mages out, and I think I might do the same with this because it's getting no love at the moment. So I'm considering taking out the mages and just using them for the big things. So there we go. So that's that one. Let's just pop him there. How we doing? Did you know I missed out a question? Sorry. Do I have any backup decks? No, I don't. I have quite a few Rider-Waite-Smith decks, but I wouldn't consider them backups, except the light blue box. I do have 2 of those. So yes, I do have a backup, I beg your pardon. And the only deck that I really want a backup of is the Modern Spellcasters, because the card stop's not the best. So I do want to get another one of those. But no, I don't. I have an Oracle deck I have twice because it was in different packaging, so I brought it thinking it was a different deck. But that doesn't count. This is not about Oracle. So no, not really. Do you read? Oh no. See? Pay attention. What's your current deck crush? Okay. So I don't have a picture, and I'm no good at superimposing it like some of you awesome people have been doing. But my deck crush is and always has been the Royal Moroccan Fez. I can't even remember what it was called. Royal Fez Moroccan Tarot. I can't remember if I'm pronouncing that right. And every time I see it on eBay or on Etsy, it's over £100, and I physically cannot afford that. Once upon a time, I might have been able to, you know, drop in £49 here just to, you know, pick up a more unique deck. But now I've moved out and we're being grown-ups again. I physically can't spend that kind of money on 78 pieces of cardboard as much as I want it. So I could save for it, but we're saving for other things. So it's just one that I will have to crush on. It's not a new deck, but that's the deck I'm crushing on most. One day, my pretty, one day. Do you read reversals? No. They fall out of the deck upside down. I'll make a note of it, but no, I don't. I encompass all of it into the reading. And like I said, most of the time I'm reading for myself, so I'm not going to give myself a reversal. It's like, oh man. But no, I do not. If you could only use one deck, which would it be? Now I know what you're thinking. Surely your modern spellcasters. You'd think so, wouldn't you? But I think if I could, as much as I absolutely love that deck, if I could only use one deck, I would have to go with the Osho Zen. I wasn't going to. I was like, I just paused it for a minute. I was like, oh no, what would I do if I could only use one deck? I was like, well, there's that one. But no, if I could only use one deck moving forward after today, the rest of them had to go in the bin. It would be the Osho Zen, which is interesting because I'm pretty sure that's changed since the last video I did. So there we go. So that's all the questions. So thank you for listening to me ramble. I'm sorry, I do wish I had one of those down cameras so you haven't got to just keep looking at my face. But on the plus side, if you get to look at my face, you get to see my Ouija board. Isn't it cool? Anyway, thank you for watching, and I'm hoping to pop back again real soon. Many blessings to everyone, and